guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my April 2020 Plan With Me bullet journal setup. April means that we are officially a quarter way through 2020, which is kind of crazy, but you know, we're here. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and all of that. This month's bullet journal setup is going to be a little bit different considering all of the things going on in the world. I know that a lot of things have been shut down, a lot of workplaces, schools, and all of that, so some of you guys might not need the typical to-do list aspect of the bullet journal. Nonetheless, of course, do whatever works for you in this time, and you know, we're just gonna have fun here, making some spreads and doodling. I feel like what I need right now amongst all of this chaos is really to sit down and relax and get some planning done and some doodling and all of that, and maybe throw on a nice lo-fi playlist. Those things always work wonders. Before we get started planning, I did just want to give a quick thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. They're an awesome online learning community, but I'll talk a little bit more about them later in the video. Without further ado, you can grab your bullet journals and markers, cup of tea if you're just planning on hanging out, and let's get planning. When I was first trying to come up with ideas for April, I was a little bit stuck. But then one night, inspiration struck me, and honestly, it's one of my favorite ideas that I've ever had, and I was so excited to sit down and come up with spread ideas and draw it and see how it turns out. So this month's theme for April is inspired by lo-fi. Now, I'm sure many of you are already aware of lo-fi, but in case you aren't, I would say recently, within the past 5 years or so, lo-fi has been this really popular music genre on YouTube. There's typically hour-long playlists and mixes and live streams of these chill beats. It's really great to listen to while you're studying or working because there's no lyrics, and I actually listen to this when I'm journaling or working. It really helps me focus and I can't listen to anything else. But anyway, typically with these YouTube playlists or mixes, you'll see some sort of illustration or animation on the screen. I'm sure you guys are all aware of the iconic study girl, the girl who's been taking notes for ages and occasionally turns a page, and I've always loved the aesthetic. I think it's so cozy. So while I was researching, I found the actual artists of some of these illustrations, as well as a lot of other artworks and illustrations that are sort of in the same vibe that really inspired me. I would categorize them as cozy, aesthetic. Typically it's a girl sitting at a window, maybe at night, and there's just a bunch of cozy items in her apartment. So I was really inspired by that, and I thought it was perfect for April because with everything going on right now, a lot of people are working from home now and are taking school from home, so those images are a reality. We're all working from a desk at home, looking through the window from the inside out, and yeah, so I thought it was really great, and I was honestly so inspired. But the thing was, all of those illustrations by those artists, which by the way, I'm gonna link all of them down below. I highly recommend you check them out. They're so talented. But all those illustrations were slightly more complicated than what I would normally do for a bullet journal setup, so I was trying to think of a way that I can integrate the ideas into my spread. So what I came up with was focusing on that sort of vignette of the window workspace. As you can see, that's what I'm drawing here, and I really recommend you guys to like customize this, maybe make it look like your own apartment, or add elements of the decorative items that you have from your home. I was mostly basing mine off of the original first study girl image that you saw, but I did sort of throw in some elements from my own apartment, like my plants and my stationery pots and all of that. So I thought it was so fun, and even though it looks complicated, guys, I promise it's actually not too hard to draw, which I know is saying a lot because it looks really intense, but just have fun with it. And I actually was using the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen to do the outlines, as you can see, and that's my favorite thing to use when I'm doing more illustrative drawings like this, because I'm able to press down harder when I want sort of a thicker line, and also the variations in the line sort of gives it this loose, sketchy sort of feel. So even if you do have a wobbly line, or if you mess up a little, it looks almost intentional. It doesn't look that way on camera, but when you see it in person, there's definitely slight wobbles to my lines, and I think that adds a certain charm to the drawing. For the lettering of April, I went with this simple typewriter-esque serif font. And then for the color palette, I went with this really simple pastel color scheme. I think there was like 3 or 4 colors, but it's sort of this peachy color, light yellow, and then this turquoise color. They were Tombow dual brush pens, so I'll leave the color codes down below, but I didn't even color the illustration in fully. I just sort of did these swipes of color, wasn't even making sure they were in the line, and I think that adds to the illustrative vibe. I think the warm color palette is really in the whole lo-fi study girl aesthetic. What I noticed a lot was that they did use sort of warm tones a lot to signify that coziness. You can color it in full if you want to. I mean, if you have more time now that you're stuck at home, maybe that's something you want to do. You can even try watercolor. I think something fun would be to do like a sunset in the window, or maybe a sunrise even. I know a lot of you guys are staying up late to study at home, so that could be a fun element to add as well. But for me, I decided to keep the color palette and the coloring a bit more minimal since the cover page was a bit more drawing heavy than normal. So on the other side of the page, I had to do it. I had to make my own study girl, and I actually kind of based this off myself. I gave her my hair. I still drew her wearing a hoodie, of course. That's classic lo-fi study girl attire, but also that's what I wear around home anyway. But honestly, this was so much fun to draw, this sort of like animation illustration style. For those of you who don't know, drawing anime was how I got into art. I actually have a video of me reacting to all of my old drawings and anime illustrations. I'll link that above in case you guys are curious. But yeah, it really took me back to my roots almost, and it was really fun to do. Again, still stuck within that minimal color palette, and then I have a quote above it that says, "You are your home." A very fitting quote, I think, since we're all staying at home. I should hope so, at least. Do your part, do your best, social distancing, flatten the curve, you guys know the deal. For the next spread, which is my monthly calendar spread, I decided to draw it as if it's one of the posters / decorations that's taped up on our study girl's wall. And that was actually a motif that I carried out throughout the whole setup. I thought it was a fun thing to sort of picture all of my bullet journal spreads as if it was a decorative item that was in study girl's apartment. So yeah, this is almost as if it's a paper calendar taped up on the wall in an imaginary apartment. It's a little bit meta and trippy, but I don't know, I thought it was fun. And I kept the layout pretty simple. It's just a classic box layout. I think the individual boxes are 6x6 boxes, in case any of you guys are curious, and I used those pastel light washes of color to create a pattern within the circles. But that was pretty much it for the calendar layout, nothing too crazy. And on the side, I actually do have these 2 sections for goals and intentions. I think with all this craziness and uncertainty in the world, I'm sure a lot of your guys' regular routines have been shaken up a little bit, but it's even more important now to set those small goals and intentions and affirmations just to keep your mind sane and give yourself a purpose in the morning, and, you know, just take care of your mental health, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. But on that topic, the next spread is my mood tracker and habit tracker. And this spread I was so excited to make because, again, I was inspired by the whole decorative elements of our study girl's apartment. So I sort of made the trackers as if it was a wall in her bedroom or something. I drew all these picture frames and posters and pictures hung up on the wall, and that's our habit tracker. I basically did the mini calendars within each of those posters / picture frames and whatnot, and I scattered the layout to make it look more like it is decorative in an apartment, all of that. And then above it, I have this long bookshelf running across, and each book is sort of the mood tracker. So I did 30 days? Is there 30 days in April? I think so. Yeah, so I did 30 different decorative things on that bookshelf and then numbered them off for each day in April. I think this is such a fun spread. I don't know, I thought it was kind of unique. And I like how everything's sort of scattered and jumbled up like it would normally be in someone's apartment. Oh yeah, I also had fun adding a bunch of other decorative things to this wall space, like the string of lights across the bookshelf, a lot of plants, which is a big thing in these lo-fi study girl rooms. And I also drew some Polaroid pictures taped up on the wall, some vinyl records attached to the wall. It's just a fun spread, I think. I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun making this. You can add stuff that's in your own apartment again. And yeah, so as you can see, I left space for each individual habit. I have wipe phone, which is really important now that we're all trying to be very clean. I have stretching and exercising, watering plants, vitamins, and then something for the mind, which basically means something that is keeping my brain active, like learning or practicing an instrument, that sort of thing. Of course, we couldn't do a lo-fi themed bullet journal setup without me making a lo-fi playlist spread. You guys already know that I love making these monthly playlist spreads and sharing them with you guys on Spotify and all of that. So of course, for this month, I had to share some of my personal favorite lo-fi playlists and mixes. I use these all the time when I'm filming videos, when I'm drawing, journaling, working, anything. It's just the only thing that will keep me focused while I'm working. I can't listen to music with lyrics when I'm actually trying to focus because then I just get distracted and end up singing along. So these lo-fi playlists have been a lifesaver for productivity, and I'll link them all down below. Unfortunately, not a lot of them are like on Spotify. They're mostly just really long YouTube videos. But yeah, I do have some of my favorite ones. Trust me, I've been around the block. I have listened to a ton. So these are my top 6 favorite ones, and yeah, check them out if you guys are interested. For the actual spread, I drew a record player because a lot of these lo-fi songs sort of sound like they are being played on a record player. They have that like vintage sort of grainy sound. So I thought it was fitting. And also for the title, actually for the titles on all of my spreads throughout this entire setup, I used this typewriter-ish font. I wrote down all of the mixes as if they were taped up on Study Girl's wall. Some of my favorites are the Studio Ghibli Jazz Lo-Fi playlist. I have listened to that so many times when I was trying to focus, and it never gets old. It's so good. And then also City Girl is one of my favorite artists for lo-fi sort of music. For the spread next to it, as you can see, this is my quarantine routine spread. It sounds ridiculous, but I actually saw this post on Twitter, and this person did make this note on her phone about like a quarantine routine. And you know, you don't have to follow it exactly, but I thought it was really nice to sort of give yourself a ideal layout of the day. It can be so easy to just sleep in all day or procrastinate, or especially when you're at home, or in my case, I just eat food whenever I want to procrastinate. You know, it's not the greatest. So I thought it was a good idea to lay out sort of your ideal day at home in terms of productivity. Of course, not every single day is going to follow this, but you can kind of cater it depending on your needs. So on the left side, I have time of the day, I have a goal, and then activity. And when I say like activity, I more so mean activity options. For example, in the morning, my goal is to wake up, get ready for the day, and try not to look at my phone. So in the activity section, I have washing up, getting ready, of course, but also stretching, eating a proper breakfast, that sort of thing. For the evening, my goal is to try not to work too late. So my goal is to do something for fun and wind down. So for my activity options, I can watch a movie on Netflix, do a face mask, play games for fun, Animal Crossing is out, so stuff like that. You guys can cater depending on your specific needs and your specific schedule. For the first weekly spread of April, I did a Dutch door spread. So as you can see, I'm cutting straight up in half vertically. I'm also rounding out the edges. I'm very particular about round edges in a notebook. And I highlighted the edge of each vertical section in one of those 4 color palette colors that I had going on throughout the entire month. And then also, again, doing that quick typewriter serif font for the days of the week. On a separate note, something else that I've been doing whenever I'm making my task list for these individual days is I separate them out based on like priority tasks, things that I need to get done for the day, and then also any timed tasks that have sort of a time deadline. So I do that when I'm doing each individual daily, which is why you don't see me doing that now. But let me know if you guys want more details about that. Alright, so on the side I have a sidebar, which is any weekly events. In this case, for me personally, I don't have any outside events. Don't worry, I'm not going outside of my apartment. I'm staying at home, but it's mostly to plan out any videos or social posts, that sort of thing. And then on the right side, there was a perfect empty space and I didn't know what to fill it in with, so I thought it was the perfect space for me to draw one more window in our study girl's apartment home. For final touches, I added all the decorative potted plants and pictures taped on the wall and a quote at the bottom that says "Together at Home," which is a nice, heartwarming, short quote that's been floating around on social media, and added the minimal washes of color, of course. And I just really like the way this spread turned out. I can't wait to come up with more ideas for spreads throughout April. I think it's going to be really fun. Now I know it's not going to be for everyone. It might be a little drawing heavy for some people, but if anything, I hope this video could act as a sort of lo-fi relaxation for your eyes. Alright friends, just quickly before I show you the final flip through of my April 2020 bullet journal setup, I did just want to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. If you happen to not know what Skillshare is, they are an online learning community with thousands of classes. They have a bunch of classes in entrepreneurial skills, creative skills, art, design, lettering, and I even have my own exclusive Skillshare class on there as well, which a lot of you guys have told me you've taken, which is so fun. Whether you've been meaning to try something new and you just don't know where to begin, or if you want to improve the skills that you already have, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning, keep your mind going. I know a lot of you guys might be bored, stuck at home, so maybe this is the perfect time to take a Skillshare class. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to all of their high quality classes, including my class, which I will link down below in case you guys want to take it. And the best part is that Skillshare is actually super affordable, especially when you compare it to the cost of in-person classes and workshops. An annual subscription to Skillshare is less than $10 a month, which is amazing. So if you guys are interested in trying it out for yourself, be sure to click the link in the description box below for a free 2-month trial. Back to the flip through. Here's the final flip through of my April 2020 bullet journal setup inspired by the lo-fi girl cozy aesthetic. I really love the way this turned out. I love the minimal color palette and the illustrations. They were just such a blast to do and the spreads were fun to make. I threw on a lo-fi playlist and it was just very relaxing and therapeutic. Alright, my little doodles, that was it for my April 2020 bullet journal setup. I hope you guys enjoyed planning with me. As usual, now's the time where I showcase some of your recreations so you can see them next to me here. Look at them. They're all so lovely and beautiful. I love when you guys recreate my bullet journal spreads, so if you do recreate this month's spread or any of my previous month's spreads, be sure to tag me on Instagram in the caption as well as tag me in the photo so I can see all of them and lurk and creep. Even if I don't like or comment every single post, I promise I see all of them. Every time I wake up in the morning, I just scroll through my tagged photos and it's my favorite part because I love seeing what little twists you guys put. So I can't wait to see your guys' creations. You can tag me at AmandaRachLee and also use our hashtag little doodles. I think that's pretty much it for me. As usual, if you want to keep updated, the best way to do so is to click that bell button down below so you're notified every time I post a new video. But hopefully this video could act as a nice moment of relaxation a little bit for you guys. Please stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I will talk to you in the next one. Keep doodling, guys. Bye.